the Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 214, featuring Pink,
Hey.
Atty, and Alex. Oh, alright. So, Pink, you got anything coming out on your channel this week?
I'll definitely have things coming out on my channel this week. Obviously, Dead by Daylight, because I recorded a lot of that with Mike, and you were kind of there, but not really, but still there. And then I'll also have the Valheim coming out.
Sweet. Alright. Atty, you got anything coming out on your channel?
No, so I did actually script that yet another review, and it just needs to be recorded. Here's the thing, and actually I'll come back to the reason that made it impossible for me to record narration this week. I don't know why. Like, I prefer it didn't, because then I would have 4 videos, and at that point I could actually start scheduling them maybe. But at the same time, shit just didn't work out this week for actually making videos, because like, yeah.
Alright.
And the UW?
Nothing that I've got planned. I'd love to start doing some Dead Rising challenge run type stuff. And maybe some warm. I'm doubtful about the Warmer 3 stuff. By now, with Warmer 3, it's entered the phase where pretty well all the coverage is coming from YouTubers and Twitch streamers who got early access a month ahead. And I mean, there's not much point in covering other YouTuber stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
We all have lines we like to draw somewhere.
Yeah, at the same time, you have to consider how many nuclear reactors there are on YouTube that are successful.
Well, yes, but
can I just say that like out of all of the monikers that people who make videos attach to themselves and just get in general, like this is my influencer for Mike, or not influencer. Mike has a problem with content creator, which I disagree with, but whatever. Like, that's mine. Reactor, no, that's already over. It's already in use. Choose another.
I don't think it's that Mike might not necessarily have an issue with the word content creator. He just wants them all to die. Which is interesting, because he is one himself, but I guess because he doesn't get paid for it, he sees it as being different.
I know it's different because he does it. That's the only difference.
Yeah.
You see, when other people do it, it's gay, but when I do it, it's fine.
Yeah.
Anyway. So as for the group channel, yeah?
Yeah, there you go, thank you.
So for the group channel, we have Spider-Man Episode 5, then Dead by Daylight Part 9, then Fighting Games on Episode 35. If you're not fucking confused about whether we use parts or episodes, then I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. And then the second half of Pink and I playing schoolgirls that one time. And that's your week.
I like it.
All right. Pink, what you been up to?
What have I been up to? That is a good question. I mean, I already noted it when you asked me what's coming out this week. I played a lot of Valheim with you guys, and I played a lot of Dead by Daylight with you guys. And in addition to that, I watched Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I thought it was pretty good. It's... How do I describe it? It's more or less a complete retread of the original plot of the original Ghostbusters, and a lot of it is just straight up nostalgia for the people who really enjoy that movie, which is fine. I have no problem with that. I feel like one of the weakest aspects of it was the characters themselves, because I just didn't like... How many were there? So in the protagonist family, there's the adult mom, the teenage brother, and then probably the main protagonist is the daughter, and she is the granddaughter of Egon Spengler. So that's cool. So she's a good character. The brother and the mother, I didn't like them, and they're very unlikable and very greasy and leave a bad taste in your mouth up until they stop becoming characters and become plot points. So they don't improve as characters. It's just plot happens, so they have to stop being themselves, and they have to work to move the plot forward. So yeah, I thought that was the weakest aspect of the film, outside of just the fact that it's a complete nostalgia trip. Which those aren't terrible, but spending like 5 minutes just doing a playback of, oh yeah, here's the little proton pack, and here's all the original sound effects. So, like, it's cool. I don't imagine it'd be as cool on a second or third viewing, but I have no issue with it.
So, Pink, I have an important question. Is Dan Aykroyd in the movie?
Is the what in the movie?
Dan Aykroyd.
Dan.
Is that not how you say his name?
That is definitely somebody's name. I don't remember who that is.
He's one
I'm
of
not
the
good with the actor's
Ghostbusters. I
name.
don't remember the character's name.
Let me actually Google it. Dan Aykroyd. Yeah, he's in the film.
Okay, is there a 5 to 10 minute break where he just advertises Crystal Skull vodka?
As far as I'm aware, no.
They really missed out. Well, he really missed out on an advertisement.
Truly.
Yeah, that guy has a vodka brand, and he advertises it pretty much anywhere he can, from what I can gather. And he advertises it by saying that it has no antifreeze in it.
Well, it probably doesn't.
I mean, yeah, but like, can you prove that other vodkas do?
No, but can you prove that they don't?
Well, no, but then he also
Well, they're not
filters
telling
them.
you that they don't have antifreeze in there, so there's a definite possibility that they do.
Yeah, I also love how he makes a big point about them being filtered through diamonds. Like layers and layers of diamonds. Like, I think they filtered, they're double filtered vodka, which of course, like, can you imagine fucking wasting diamonds on that shit instead of just like making it into dust and sorting it like coke at that point? Just put it, do the same thing people do with gold. Just put the diamond dust in the vodka. At least that at that point you can actually sell it like that.
I'm not sure why one would drink diamond dust. That doesn't sound particularly healthy.
Well, no, but it's a luxury, so obviously you have to do it because if you don't have money, you don't matter.
I don't imagine rich people are ingesting valuable mineral, but I don't know. I'm not rich.
Maybe we come full circle and rich people are ingesting themselves with antifreeze.
Anyway, yeah, I don't have a lot else to say about Afterlife. I thought it was a solid film. It's a complete retread of the original plot, but with a little bit of variation. So, obviously, original Ghostbusters, I like that film, so I like this film. But if I've been given the choice between the two, as attractive as I find Paul Rudd, I would probably just choose to watch the original.
That sounds like the smart choice, yes.
Yeah. And I don't know that I actually did anything else this week.
All right, then. Yeah, I guess it's my turn. So I guess to get the obvious out of the way, which it is on recording, that's why it's obvious. But we did record Hitman 2. Technically Hitman 1 levels, but Hitman 2 this week. That's gonna be an interesting one for me to figure out whether to take it as Hitman 1 or 2, because technically it's Hitman 2, but it's the Hitman 1 levels.
Well, if it's Hitman 2, just call it Hitman 2. Nobody's going to care that it's the Hitman 1 levels, because it's in Hitman 2.
Alright. But yeah, we did... that whole recording session was me accidentally doing good, pretty much.
Yes, that is accurate. Yes.
Like the freaking most other people, they either just like become a force of destruction, or they and fail, or they actually play the game normally. I like instead of Agent 47, I was playing as Johnny English.
Nah.
Meh.
Because like every time, like I would try to do something good, and that would work. It would go horribly, and then I would just start to do stupid dumb shit, and it would work for some reason. Like
Yeah.
the slapstick. Like, I needed to introduce slapstick into the game for me to actually be able to play the game properly.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene that I remember has to be, you know, the one at the start, which is a failed attempt where people are shooting 47, and he just walks up to them slowly and hits them with a slapjack, and then walks away.
Yeah.
Like, the bullets don't hurt. I mean, he still died anyway, but you know, the bullets don't hurt. It's fine.
Yeah. Feel no pain.
If you pretend you don't feel pain, then they won't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we did that. This week I also played Deep Rock Galactic, which is one of the free games with PS Plus, and it's not my type of game. It just straight up ain't.
Yeah.
Like,
I would have figured. Yeah.
I mean, there is a solo game mode, so you don't have to play it multiplayer, which is fine. But like, it simultaneously felt like there was a very laid down path for how I was supposed to progress. While at the same time, because it's in caves, you need to be able to break the walls, so you can just go anywhere. But like a lot of times when I tried to go off of the beaten path to find other cave systems and stuff like that, I would just like not progress anywhere. Like I made a tunnel that was about as long as the actual level that the actual level that I started in, and it just led nowhere. Like it was just a tunnel for the sake of a tunnel, and it took me, I want to say, half an hour to make that thing, and there was no minerals. That was great.
Huh.
Like it's one of those things where like on one hand it would definitely be more fun with friends, but then like that's most video games, if not all of
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And also like it feels like, to me, as someone who has no perception, it feels like the game isn't clear on whether or not it actually wants you to follow the path that it laid out, or if it wants for you to make the path. Because like I can do mining stuff in Minecraft because that game is set up in a way that you may happen upon a cave system or you may not, and then, you know, depending on how much time you want to actually spend getting nothing, you may get something out of it. Because yeah, in this game, a lot of like in both of the levels that I went into, I spent 2 hours playing the game. That was 2 levels, more or less. But it felt like there was a very clear area that they wanted you to do stuff in. But then there was also an exploration aspect where you ran out of resources. It wasn't enough to go to do the missions in those areas, so then you had to find some more other places. And it just
Yeah.
you know, like I can understand what they were going for. I'm not even going to say that they did it wrong. It just wasn't made put together in a way that makes the progression fun or clear to me. Because like otherwise, as a video game, like it's fine. Like I can't really like I can't really say, oh, they did these things and those things horrible. Like no, I just got lost. Like that's pretty much it.
Huh.
But it's not even that I got lost. I guess is that it felt like I wasn't progressing through the mission, which is in a way getting lost, I suppose.
Huh.
But yeah, then also I started another playthrough of Assassin's Creed 2 because I don't have any other video games to play that I haven't done so recently. And I'm playing through Assassin's Creed 2. And it's just like I booted the game up, and I was immediately just like, "Yup, I know what's happening. I know every single thing that's going on." Like I would be skipping all of the cutscenes if that was an option in Assassin's Creed 2, but it wasn't because that game is that old. And I would probably still know where I am in the story. Uh, but yeah, that game exists. Like, this is probably something that I've said multiple times before. But like the Ezio trilogy are games where like I would the only way for me to have fun with those games again would probably just be for us to record it so I can riff on the janky parts, more or less.
Yeah.
And otherwise, like I play that game because it makes time go. Like I can't really I can't watch like VODs of streams because you know it usually people aren't interesting enough for me to actually watch them for like 4 hours straight, or at least not alone. Like they can be interesting enough for me to actually want to watch those videos. Just not with the video or the actual like visual footage that they set up. So what I usually do when I watch streams is I put the stream up and then I play a game next to that so I can pay attention to the stream when I feel like it and then I can pay attention to the game when it's boring, more or less. So I've just been using Assassin's Creed 2 as basically the visual equivalent of white noise while I watch videos, more or less.
Yeah, I would do that with Tekken back in the day, yeah.
And then I also platinumed the Dust Elysian Tale.
Alright, I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. I've played through this game 4 times this week. 4 times.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's just a little. That's just a few times, you know.
Because like I played through it once because I started a save file to make sure to make sure the game worked. I don't know why. Like I just had to do it. I don't know why it wouldn't work on a PS4, but you know, whatever. So I started a playthrough like that, and then I was like, okay, whatever, I'll finish it. So I did that. Then the video I'm working on is a review of that. So I went through the game again, so I can make sure that my opinions are, fresh. So I went did that, wrote the review, whatever. Then I was only like 4 or 5 achievements away from getting platinum. So and one of the things was to beat the game on hard or very hard. So I beat the game on hard. That's the third one. And then to get the actual footage for the review, I played through the game again. Because why not?
Yeah.
So I played through that game 4 times this week. It was it was like I enjoyed it. That's the thing. Like it's one of those things where like I played through the game 3 times on the Xbox 360, once on the PC, and then 4 times just this week. So that's 8 times so far. Plus minus a couple, I guess, that I may not remember. And like that game is still fun. Like it's one of those things where like because you can skip the cutscenes and stuff like that. I don't need to pay attention to the story parts as much, like because I know what's happening because I played through it this week. Fuck, but
Yeah.
like I learned a lot about that game to the point where I may be able to do a speedrun of it in the same manner that I did Strider, where I don't actually like train to actually do speedrun tactics and just play through the game fast as fast as possible without actually doing like skips. But yeah,
You hear me?
yes,
Oh, thank God. Okay, carry on.
all right. But yeah, like I still had fun with the game. The hard difficulty run was interesting because I wanted to do it fast, but I also didn't wanted to be able to complete it more or less because the end boss of that game has 4 phases, and shit. So yeah, the end boss.
Just a few.
Yeah, so it has 4 phases, and he can summon minions on 3 of them, I think, or 2, I forget. I'm gonna say 2 because that's for sure. There may be a third phase where he can summon minions, but these minions, you can't hit these minions aside from parrying them, which is hitting them at the same time as they hit you, more or less. And then the same is kind of true for the boss as well. So you have 3 people on the screen that you can't actually hit normally, aside from like circumstances. And this is for 3 or 2 phases out of the 4. So
Okay.
yeah, on hard difficulty, like eventually what I did is on hard difficulty, I just figured out a way to loop the AI into jumping, the boss AI into jumping, and then I would just never leave the air. I would always be airborne and just keep doing the air grab that does a lot of damage, and then the enemies can, like, the only way the enemies can block that is if I miss. So I just did
Nice.
that to the boss over and over again. And the thing is, it took me 5 tries to beat the boss, but there's this thing where you can get revive stones, where if he depletes your heart or your life, then you just get back up. Also, on hard difficulty, with the level I was, because it has RPG elements, and I was under leveled, I think, because I was fighting him at level 25, and most people, I think, well, it depends on which difficulty and stuff like that, and you know how much people want to grind. But a lot of times when I see people make videos about stuff, about playing the game, they're at like level 50 or level 60 when they reach the boss, and I was level 25. But you know, on hard,
Casually.
Nice.
yeah. And so he hit me twice and I died. Well, okay, no, 3 times because the game gives you magic pixel just to give you the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, so the guy hits me 3 times, or 2 or 3 times, and I die. There's these revive stones where if he depletes your life, you just get back up. I got them through missions, 2 of them, and every single time he killed me, except for the last time on the 5th try, where I didn't even have to use a revive stone because I just looped him that hard.
Yeah.
It was great. But yeah, that's gonna be a fun game to record, in my opinion. There's definitely there is one spot in the game where the bitrate dies. Just I know this already because the game likes like weather effects, and there's a part where you're in a snowstorm. And I've just, if you know something about snowstorm and videos, is that the two don't mix. But yeah, once we get to that, it would be, it will be an interesting playthrough. I'm not sure how long it will take us, because depending on which difficulty we go with and how much you want me to do the side missions or not, it can take between, if I'm slow, then it will take between 6 and 10 hours at most. So that's like 4 recording sessions at most.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that happened, and then video games. What else did I do? Well, Smite season 9 started, and they made some changes. They released the 4th tier for a couple of items, and they called the 4th tier glyphs. And
Okay.
they also changed how crit works completely. Well, okay, not 100% completely, but like 60%, 60% or so, I'd say. So crit is no longer completely RNG. There is all RNG elements, but they made it so it's fixed, like what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. Whatever. Like basically, if you get a crit, then the chances of getting crits in a row decreases, and if you don't get crits for a long while, then the chances of getting crits increases. Which is,
Okay.
yeah, which is
Now,
all. Yeah.
when you say a long while, do you mean in relation to time or the amount of moves you've thrown out?
I don't know. I think it may be moves thrown out, but I'm not 100% sure. Like they tried to explain this, but it went over my head.
I imagine it would be moves you throw out. So like
Yeah.
every shot you take either increases or decreases your critical chance based on whether or not you've actually landed a critical hit. So if you've hit 9 shots and none of them have been critical, your 10th shot probably has a 100% chance of being critical. I wouldn't know. I've not looked into details. Whereas if you've hit like 9 shots and all of them somehow manage to be critical, you probably got 100% chance of getting a not critical shot on your 10th shot.
Yeah, that they also nerfed the crit damage, so it's now I wanna say 175% or something like that instead of 200. So like, not a whole lot, but enough that you notice. Which I mean, I'm fine with because I don't build crit. Like I go out of my way not to build crit. The only reason there is one crit item in my build for hunters, but that's because they made the item crit with this update, and I would have used it anyway. So they took Atlanta's blow. Yes, they took Atlanta's blow. They sorted it all off. Shit. So they took Atlanta's bow, and they went, well, yes. What if you take the hastened katana stand-in for hunters and just remove the hastened katana part, but instead add the lifesteal and crits? Now, technically, the hastened katana part is somewhat still there. Like it was nerfed because like the reason hastened katana, no, the reason hastened whatchamacallit, the first hastened item it was removed from the game is because of hunters. That's why we have hastened katana today instead. And then uh Atlanta's bow used to make it so if you hit an auto attack, then for I don't know how many seconds you no, it's just if you can hit auto attacks consistently, then it triggers a thing where the movement like the what do they call it? The thing that makes you slow down when you attack people, that just went away. It is
Yeah.
what it used to do. Now instead, if you hit a normal attack or whatever, a basic attack on someone, then you just get a speed buff for 2 seconds, I think, which is noticeably worse, just in general. But at the same time, they did give the item multiple other stats, which I don't like. Like I was fine with Atlanta's bow not being a stat stick because then like I use it anyway because it fit into how I play hunters usually. But it depends on which character. But yeah. But at the same time, a lot of the changes they made seemed like it would just be a flat nerf to hunters. Like technically, they only buffed crit items because they nerfed crit as a whole and stuff like that. But it seems fine, at least at where we are in the low. It seems good enough. Like it actually feels like I'm doing damage as a hunter again, which is
I like.
weird. Yeah. I also had a match with Uller, and I haven't played Uller since they. Actually, I haven't played Uller since I switched over to using keyboard and mouse at all, really. Because I prefer Uller on a controller. Funnily enough, even though that's the harder way to play him.
Yeah.
But so I did play Uller, and it was really funny because this meant that I haven't played Uller since they added the new items or introduced the thing that or removed boots or added in the healing thing and the healing aura. But it was so funny when I gave Uller the cowl, which makes it so you get faster auto attacks when you're next to teammates, and you get faster movement speed when you're not there next to teammates. So Uller has his speed buff. I gave Uller that, and then I forget what else I gave him that gave him movement speed. But there was a point when the enemy, I forget which guard it was, but they were running away, and Uller just straight up turned into Hermes, like just started running after them, and it legitimately felt like dumb how quick Uller started running with the speed buff that he can give himself, and then all of the movement speed, all of the 2 movement speed items that I gave him, just working together to make him run like Usain Bolt. It was great.
I believe it.
Sounds like, yeah.
And then with Smite, what else can I freaking say to close off Smite? Season 9 is the Tenkai devs are scarier than ever because they got buffed too. But as I've said, it doesn't feel like the squishies can't actually do damage anymore, which felt like an issue. Where like apparently it's an issue that goes both ways because people building tank uh felt like they weren't tanky enough because they died immediately, and then people who played squishies felt like they were doing damage at all, and then just died. So nobody had fun. Because why not? That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from my experience, it seems fine enough. There's also Slash, but I didn't play Slash.
Oh, is that finally a thing now? I've been waiting
Yes.
for years now. When did that get announced? Like a year ago?
I think so.
What the hell?
It's been
What the
a
hell, Slash?
They took Sleege and Clash and made it one game mode.
Clash is the 2-lane one, right?
I think so. And the Siege was the four freaking people one. I think I'm not sure.
Yeah, where you control
Yeah.
super minions. Yeah.
Yeah, so they took those two game modes and then X'd both of them, and instead made one that's supposed to have parts of both.
Yeah.
And I think it's a 5v5 now. I'm not sure. So yeah, I didn't try that one because that can wait until we actually have like a stack. Just
Yeah.
any stack. Because it's a laning mode. And I'm building stacks. Take this jungle buff. You rock, cancel that. I'm the greatest. I swear, like, if we get a soundboard, any of us, half of the soundboard will just be the Smite generic voice pack.
You're not wrong.
But yeah. I feel like we do VGS not even out of like we like this thing. It's just like PTSD. But yeah, anyway. I also drew stuff. For example, I noticed that I draw a lot of Sonic, so I wanted to mix things up a bit. So I actually got a reference image of an actual hedgehog and tried to take elements of that and apply that to a Sonic character's design. I put this into
Edge
text.
the hedge.
Yes, everyone's favorite hedge.
Okay. Oh.
I think it's
okay.
yeah.
What? Why are we all quiet?
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure where Eddie's going next.
All right. Here's the other thing. So remember that Zenyatta that Navia drew.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did yet another take on it.
Meh.
I actually have the image. I have the image and the Zenyatta saved
I like the little faces on the balls.
Thanks. That's a part of how I draw Zenyatta. Like it's always been a thing that I make the balls have a cat face.
Huh.
But yeah, I also exported these separately because I thought they looked nice. And then Zenyatta, and then like this is a T-shirt. Is what I'm saying. Zenyatta is the front, and the embrace this dick is the back.
I
Yeah.
like it.
This is the third merch item. or the FOS merch store that doesn't exist yet.
Here's a stupid question.
Yeah.
Here's two stupid questions. Do you think that now that Activision and Blizzard are part of Microsoft, Microsoft might actually somehow redeem Overwatch? And B, do you think that there's a chance that Microsoft might put Overwatch on Steam so I don't have to open Battle.net anymore?
Did Overwatch need redeeming?
I mean, it's
I mean,
kind of
balance-wise, but also just the reputation. Do you think that Microsoft could make Overwatch the big thing again?
I think it's definitely possible, but I think it was going to have an uphill battle either way. Because, Microsoft is a big company. It's got a lot of fans, but if anything is a part of a quote-unquote big company, it's usually going to be met with pushback like, oh, you shouldn't like that. That's part of the big brand there. So,
I mean, Blizzard was a big company. Activision Blizzard was pretty well the biggest gaming company in most people's minds.
I would not know that. I'm not a gamer.
But you, as Resident Capital G gamer of the call.
You hate minorities?
Yes, I hate myself. I thought we'd been over this. Oh shit. I started doing that bit, and then I was like, okay, so where do we go? Where do we actually go with this?
Now, there's a good question.
But yeah. I think that Microsoft could do good things with Blizzard. Or, Blizzard's IPs. I'm not sure if they will, but I'm more inclined to believe that Microsoft will do something good than I am to believe that Blizzard or Activision will.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to believe that all this does is potentially make sure that Overwatch 2 gets pushed to the front of the burner as opposed to being sitting on the back burner, for better or worse.
Supposedly getting fucked by Bobby Kotick, from what the rumors have been going around.
Yeah, although apparently Bobby will only be around until 2023. Which is when Microsoft actually buys freaking Blizzard. Like Microsoft, like Phil Spencer, I think if I remember correctly, Phil Spencer, it had an interview where he basically just said, "Oh yeah, we legally we don't own Activision Blizzard yet, so we can't make decisions like this yet. At the same time, things will change.
Yeah.
So
someone will be fired."
And like people are freaking out because of having a monopoly and stuff like that. But like, on one hand, I can understand.
Ship has already sailed.
Yeah, that too. But also, like, I can see people's concerns with this. At the same time, I legitimately 100% don't see any fucking difference. Like, EA's games were the same as Activision's games were the same as Ubisoft's games for the most part, for the past 10 years at least. The only thing a monopoly, the only difference a monopoly makes at this point is that all of it goes to Phil Spencer and his handlers, like
and his handlers.
Like the only difference this makes is just the money goes into into one potentially bad company instead of 13. And then people are also like, oh, so Sony really needs to start buying people. Like, who should Sony buy? Like, who could Sony buy? Like, technically, Japanese game devs are safe because there's apparently a Japanese law that prohibits Japanese companies from being sold overseas, which is funny.
That is certainly unique, and I'm not surprised.
But yeah, so basically, Microsoft can't buy Sega or Capcom because the law prohibits them from doing so. So, so Sony should instead buy Sega and Capcom, obviously.
Obviously.
I mean, I do actually kind of wish that Sony bought some like Japanese indie, like not indie but like small scale developers, because that's kind of missing some from Sony's repertoire. Meanwhile, Microsoft has a large repertoire, so it doesn't matter as much.
Yeah.
And that's really the only thing that Sony is missing out on, is that like, it, but that's just kind of feel like that's just video games as a whole. Is that because of investors not wanting a sure payout, and also from how people inflate video game budget. The part of video games that was like, single or double A experimental games died out, and that's a part that I'm missing personally. And it's a part that usually doesn't get games anymore. Like the last game we got was Biomutant, but nobody bought that because it was it was a double A game, and it makes me sad. But technically, I suppose smaller scale development, video games are still developed. It's just all of them are Eurojank RPGs. There is no difference. Like, it just feels like there is no in between going through indie games and going to AAA games. It's just within the games you get some variety, because people aren't as tied down as shit, so they can do more experimental stuff. But at the same time, there's also the thing of like, none of this is proven, and who knows if a project actually has a satisfying payoff for that, like Inscription, which is polarizing with its ending and how it fits into bigger things, apparently. And then with AAA games, a lot of, like, the overwhelming amount of AAA games are the same. And I say this as someone who likes Assassin's Creed, and I know that that's hypocritical. But most of AAA games are the same and have been for 15 years. And okay, not 15. It started in the middle of the 7th gen, I think. That
Yeah,
was
it's been a
360
while.
PS2 era, right?
Yeah.
Because like at first there was still experimental stuff for that too, and then it turned out that the Unreal Engine wasn't cheap to develop for. Anyway, welcome to my TED Talk, where I talk about what else did I draw? I feel like I drew something else. Like there's definitely one more thing that I drew, but I feel like I also drew something that was different from that thing that I actually remember. But I guess not. So whatever. I made a new avatar because the one I made last week, I think, had a goofy face and it bothered me. So I just drew a new one.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like with this one you can tell that like, most of my art intake is just furry shit, because that's the most easily accessible to me.
Yeah.
Because you see, to look at other people's art, I have to go out of my way and actually like follow those people and shit like that. Or I can just like go to the one place where I freaking lurk in free conversations, and then art will get posted there because one overwhelming amount of furries are artists.
Yeah.
And yeah. Then the funny thing, I guess. So I have a funny story. Remember how last week we joked about how W gave me COVID?
Right.
Yeah, it may actually have been COVID. It may have been Omicron.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
that has been everywhere.
Well, the Omicron or whatever it's called is supposedly is super, super, super easily passable.
Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
Like there was one day, which is actually funny enough. The day we recorded Hitman 2, I thought about canceling the video, because I woke up and it just felt like the I don't know what to call it, like the the pain in your upper stomach from when you get kicked in the balls.
I mean, that doesn't happen often to me, but I can sort of imagine what you're talking about.
It used to happen to me a lot
You
because
poor child.
yeah, before my balls dropped completely, my sisters would kick me in the balls to check if it hurt. It was an experience.
I'm confused and concerned.
As you probably should be.
But yeah, so there's the pain you feel in your upper stomach from when you get kicked in the balls, and it just felt like basically it felt like I was getting kicked in the balls every 30 seconds, but it wasn't the actual like pain in the balls part, but it was the pain you feel after from when the actual like lower pain subsided and it's only in your stomach, and it wasn't like it wasn't great enough pain that I would have had to call the video off, but I was like, well, would I be able to make good commentary while also sometimes there just being a freaking noticeable amount of stomach pain enough for me to sometimes do like freaking method acting of getting shot in the stomach.
Yeah.
Like I
What
could
for
have,
what it's worth, I didn't notice.
but yeah, because by that point I managed to make it go away, thankfully.
Hey,
But yeah, so that was a great experience, and then just like it still lingers in that my nose is stuffy, which is apparently a thing that it just does because fuck you, more or less. Like my nose is stuffy. I can breathe through my nose, and it's fine, because it's not actually there's no snot from what I can tell, but it's stuffy, and enough for it to change how I speak, which is the weirdest combination and the most annoying one as someone who does voice work. Because like it means that I can't actually blow my nose because there's nothing for me to blow, but it still sounds like that I have something in my nose.
yeah.
And yeah, so my mom also has the same stuff, and like I don't know how it is over there, but over here to actually get tested, you need to pay like money, like $30, which is a lot for us.
That
So
doesn't sound fun.
yeah, so what's going on right now is my mom has the same symptoms that I do or did or whatever, and because of her work, she has to get tested anyway, and if her thing is positive, then it would probably be positive for me as well. Of course, we won't know. We don't know, or we wouldn't be able to tell definitely that actually getting me tested too. But we just don't have the money for it. So hey,
Right.
but yeah. So the thing that's keeping me from actually doing a review right now is just the stuffy nose tripping me up because it's annoying and you can hear it. I'm not sure if you can hear it or if y'all can tell, but I can definitely tell when I listen back to recordings.
I can't hear it, no.
Yeah, you sound mostly normal to me.
Okay, that's weird, but fine. Like
Yeah.
it's not that I don't believe you. It's just like that uh fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. That just means that I may actually be able to do a recording then.
Yeah.
And then what else did I do this week? That may be it. I yeah, I guess it is.
All right.
So Nabia,
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't been up to a whole lot this past week. Mostly been either school or procrastinating school.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. Sorry, had to stretch. Yeah. Honestly, I struggle to think of what I've done. I think I watched a movie last weekend. Did I? Oh, I watched two movies, right. I've kind of talked about these already a fair bit with both Mike and Pink and Soon and everyone during the Valheim stuff, but I did this past weekend watch the new Candyman. A lot of interesting ideas, a lot of cool visuals, a lot of neat horror stuff. Very poor writing, especially near the end. And that's all I'll say about that one. Halloween Kills. It was padding for time because they clearly didn't want to do anything climactic until the end of the trilogy. The decision to reveal more about Michael in any way, I think, was a big mistake. Because they do, again, try to confirm a little bit about Michael, and I don't like that. And also, the movie largely just exists as an excuse for Michael to kill loads and loads and loads of people, which I guess is accurate to the title, but that I'll have to recommend it to Clown sometime because that's what he wants out of horror movies. But for me, that's not what I want. I want there to be more meat to it,
Yep.
So neither of them I was big on. The other thing this week was, of course, SmackDown, which it was not a terribly interesting SmackDown. It's the go-home SmackDown before Royal Rumble, so never going to be big stuff on that, except there was a couple things that were too big, if you ask me. The show, I missed the first 5 or 6 minutes of the show because I was playing Valheim with the guys. Not Valheim, I was chatting with the guys. But it started off with, from what I saw, it started off with a little bit where they had Charlotte come out and cut a promo about, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble, yada, yada, yada. Then Shayna Baszler comes out wearing a Warhammer t-shirt, which I thought was odd. And she's cutting a promo about, actually, I'm going to win. Then Aaliyah comes out and she's like, I'm going to win because I beat Natalia in 3.17 seconds.
Yeah. Stands no chance in hell, but sure.
Yeah, and not only that, now she wears a t-shirt that's labeled Aaliyah 317 because, haha, she beat Natalia in 3.17 seconds. So that's her gimmick now, that she beat Natalia in 3.17 seconds. Enjoy.
I hope they transition her gimmick into just being Stone Cold but female.
Yeah. One thing I will say that amused me was that she didn't really say like, "Oh, I'm gonna win." She went like, "Well, I mean, like, I'd be glad to have a chance and like maybe like have my first Royal Rumble and maybe like go to my first." Like, she does it like the entire thing that either someone backstage is caught on or Aaliyah herself has caught on that she's got the sad puppy dog look because now her promos are just sad and like she sounds like fucking the wrestling equivalent of Tiny Tim here, like. Please, sir, may I have another match?
So when are they stuffing her into the
I know
case?
the joke you're going for. Don't do it. I know you said something about a attaché case. I'm going to ignore that. But now, shit, you knocked me off course with the attaché case. Okay, okay, back on course.
Aaliyah got out her dual disc.
Yeah, Aaliyah goes to the ring. Aaliyah goes to the ring, and then Natalia comes out, and she's like, actually, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. And then I think, who else? Shotzi comes out, and she's like, actually, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. And Shotzi, the funny thing, it wound up being one of those stupid things where, like, I feel like almost all the women, when they first came out of the back with their mics, they went, well, well, well. And by the time it got to Shotzi and she went, well, 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 it was like, wow, Shotzi, you fucking suck. And finally, you end up with this ridiculousness in the ring of Charlotte, Aaliyah, Shayna Baszler, Shotzi Blackheart, and Natalia, all standing around the ring, all trying to hot dog at the same time. And Charlotte just goes, okay, like, you were all jobbers. What the fuck are you doing in this ring? And like, Charlotte just goes, there's no one here who can mess with me. No one's on my level. And then just starts playing Sasha's music. And Charlotte just has the perfect facial expression of the life fading from her face. And then Sasha comes out and goes, actually, I'm going to win the Royal Rumble. And it's like, wow, this is a fucking waste of time. And then everybody just fucking clobbers each other, and you know how it goes.
Yeah, Sasha comes out and announces that she'll be in the men's Royal Rumble because she's the man.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, like, if they could work it, I would be fine with that. Like, I haven't seen. Yeah. I don't think I actually see Sasha Banks wrestle at all, but If they can work the gimmick, I'm fine with it.
Here's a question for Pink. Is Becky Lynch the only woman, well, the only person, I guess, who has been in both the men's and women's Royal Rumbles? Or not Becky Lynch, Beth Phoenix. Is Beth Phoenix the only woman? Well, the only person, I guess.
Chyna before her and Nia Jax after. And Karma as well.
Chyna was not in the women's Royal Rumble. She died before the women's Royal Rumble.
Oh, pardon me, yes. I completely missed that part of the question. Is Beth Phoenix? I believe that is correct, actually. No, because we still have Nia Jax.
Nia Jax on the women's Rumbles? I guess that makes sense. It's just bleh.
Yeah.
I was really hoping that was Beth's exclusive record because I like Beth a lot better than Nia Jax.
We can't just pretend she wasn't.
Heh. That wasn't Nia Jax. That was just rock and drag.
Yeah. I mean, look. Steven Richards, WrestleMania 20, I think is the one.
Well, better than Santina.
Yeah. Is that the one that I'm thinking of? The one with the Triple H, HBK, and Steven Richards triple threat for the title where Steven Richards won the title?
I think that's the correct meme.
All right, good.
Oh, okay. Okay, I nearly fell for the meme there. I nearly fell for the meme and corrected you.
Steven Richards. Everyone loves him.
Oh boy! All right. So the rest of the show, they did Cesaro and Ricochet versus Sheamus and Rich Holland, which is questionable because they put that on pay-per-view earlier this month, but this time you get it for free, which makes the pay-per-view seem like shit. Well, I guess they're not pay-per-views anymore, so it doesn't really matter. It's all on the network, but
yeah, it's special events.
Yeah. Rich Holland is growing a little bit of a beard. Thank God, he looks way better with it. He was kind of baby-faced earlier, and that did not work for him.
Mm-hmm.
The match was just kind of, who gives a shit? Like, Rich Holland broke his nose 2 weeks ago, and it's now obviously very recovered, but Sheamus nonetheless gave him a face guard before the match, and it's like, oh, so you just don't need a doctor slip for that, huh? Like, why doesn't everybody come out wearing face guards then? And of course, for one thing, at first the face guard didn't matter, and Ricochet just hit him a lot, and it looked like the face guard was actually hurting him more than if he had just taken the hits directly. But eventually they had the heels, yada yada, face guard, headbutt, blah. Yeah, just obvious gimmick, which, I mean, sometimes that's fine, but sometimes it's just like the crowd can see it coming from a mile away, you're going to do that. It's a match that from the outset you know is going to have a dusty finish, so the crowd doesn't get invested, you know?
Yeah.
Right, yep.
And it was especially funny sitting and watching it with my parents, because my parents are big marks for flippy guys. So the whole time they were just going, why do any of these guys matter when Ricochet's in the ring? I was able to get them eventually to concede that Cesaro is also pretty good, but Sheamus and Ridge, they were not willing to concede. They thought those guys were jokes.
Imagine if Neville was still around.
Who?
Neville.
Neville.
Yeah.
Ricochet's kind of more impressive than Neville was, honestly.
I don't know. All I remember is that Neville was the point at which people became so flippy that I just stopped liking the Neville was the reason I stopped liking high flyers for a while.
Well, the funny thing is that Neville's actually a pretty good fucking mat wrestler. Yeah, it's just that he can also do flips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I'm fine with flips. Like I'm probably the biggest high flyer fan if I did the call, although we haven't checked, so I can't be sure. But at the
with them. I'm not like Muda or Ted, where like just seeing a single flip makes me like jump out of my chair and go to Picket Day headquarters in Connecticut.
Yeah. But yeah, like I can like high flyers, but with Neville's face work was so much incessant flipping for no reason that I just got sick of it. Like I like people being flippy for a reason. Like if it's part of a move or whatever, then that's fine. But but I don't like people just doing it to show off. Like if like I'm still of the opinion that Neville's heel finish should have been the Kano ball because he could have done it.
Yeah.
The EX version even maybe, but like
I think people can buy a little bit like the idea that doing the flips throws more momentum on it, so it hurts more when you impact, which is probably not accurate to physics, but it's one of those goofy wrestling things, right?
Yeah.
But a lot
Like
of
the atomic
go ahead.
drop would probably not be the most painful thing in the world, but we just accept it, right?
Yeah. Although
Not like anyone does it anymore, but
now that you see that now I want someone to do like a freaking front salt atomic drop. Where they just do a spin in the air while holding the other person, and then they do a S-breaker. But yeah, but you see when Pac started working heel, it was great. Like I loved him as a king of the cruiserweights. That was when he actually started. Like probably because he stopped doing as many flips just because it fit the gimmick more to do less and still be like I'm the greatest.
who was the king of the cruiserweights?
Neville.
Neville, right? Okay, I wasn't there for that. Because now they've got like 3 guys who have had a anti-flip gimmick.
But there was those 2 guys who got fired who were no flips, only kicks or whatever. You know the guys, Pink.
Well,
Yeah, but they were cruiserweights. Their thing was it was kind of like an online rivalry between them and the Young Bucks. They were the throwback heavyweights. Not in it like a Andre the Giant sort of way, but like an Arn Anderson kind of thing.
Yeah, what are they called, the Revival?
Yes, they weren't relevant to the cruiserweight division, so I don't consider their gimmick as being anti-flip. That was just a catchphrase.
Oh, okay. I don't know because the only time I actually saw them IRL, they came out doing 205 Live, and then they just had they held signs that said no flips, only kicks.
Interesting.
But
didn't Drew Gulak or somebody have a gimmick like anti-flips?
Yes.
And was Drew Gulak also the guy who then went on to do the imitation Daniel Bryan rivalry?
Yes.
And then he did nothing with him?
Yes.
Their favorite thing to do.
Absolutely.
What they should really do is have a gimmick, have a no flips gimmick, where the gimmick is that the person that is anti flips is like very hypocritical, and their finisher is like a Falcon, not a Falcon Arrow. What's the move I'm thinking of? The one that's like a shooting star press, but you're also like rotating in the air, like sideways. I mean,
also
that's the red arrow. Yeah.
Yeah, the red arrow. That was Neville's finish. Whatever.
Yeah.
Good enough. Do a red arrow into Moonstomp for all I care. Make that their finish somehow. Just make the stupid
a move that would blow up the guy doing its ankles.
Yeah. But like do the like stupidest, flippiest, dumbest finish that you can imagine, and just make all of their offense require like two more flips than necessary.
Yeah.
But then they also preach about how flips are bad.
Yeah. Well, no, you know what'd be funny would be it's a heel gimmick, but he starts off working the mat, but if he gets pissed, he starts doing flips. Yeah. Which would make no sense on its own, but there'd at least be a gimmick there.
Yeah.
He takes the straps down and then does a 450 splash.
Yeah. The guy comes out with leg weights, and then every match, no, not every match, because then it would be tiring, but like every like second or third pay-per-view match, they get beaten to a pulp, and then they do the Rock Lee gimmick where they climb up on the turnbuckle, and then they untie the weights on their legs, and they start doing flips. Y'all don't know what I'm referencing because you weren't there. You didn't watch Naruto. I
know about taking off the weights. I
was lost and scared.
I'm gonna send a gift to Pig, but yeah, there was one great moment in Naruto at the start That's pretty much all that I can say about it. Really. Let's see. Sure.
Should I get back to SmackDown then?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll get the GIF up while you talk about that.
Yeah. So the what was the next bit?
Does this work? Yes.
I'm
All
just
right.
kind of. I'm just.
So
Oh
yeah.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, oh, I just posted the GIF for Pig. So yeah, basically this happened in Naruto, and then the guy dropping the weights just started teleporting, more or less. And then
Intriguing.
he got his legs broken and he couldn't walk again.
Yep. And they proceeded to
Incredible.
do nothing cool with him for the rest of the series.
Sounds like Naruto.
Yep.
Oh, it's the good old fashioned shonen stuff. The main character exists, and everyone else there is just to get their asses kicked, so the main character looks cool, I guess.
Yeah, my favorite part of Neji as a character is how he's built up for nearly 1,000 episodes to die for Naruto, and that's his character arc.
Yeah.
Like I used to like Neji, you know. Then again, I used to like a lot of characters that went Naruto, and they just don't go anywhere. Like
That was your mistake.
yeah, Kiba, I'm pretty sure has been reduced to a cameo once every 100 episodes in Boruto.
Yeah.
Anyway, SmackDown.
Yeah. So they had a segment where Sami Zayn is doing his knockoff Piper's Pit, but they have a little podcast set up in the middle of the ring. And he brings out Jinder Mahal and Shanky, right? And for
I
one
was about
thing,
to
they
ask
have
who Shanky was because I forgot.
Every time Shanky comes up, I think that people are trying to talk about Brian Kendrick and call him Spanky, but fuck it up.
Same. That's exactly where my mind went to. I was like, wait, what? Shanky's back?
I wish he was back. I miss Brian Kendrick. He was the
I mean, he's still kind of with the company, but he did ask for his release, and I don't blame him.
Oh man, yeah. So they come out there, and Sammy is very good at playing to the crowd. Like I'll be honest, like it's hard to be decent with promos with the scripts that he gives, but Sammy, I've been impressed. Sammy's actually a fairly good promo guy, at least with what they did. I don't know if he'd be any good at improvising, but he's good at working with the shitty scripts they give.
Mm-hmm.
But they have I'm trying to remember. There was a bit where, for one thing, I think the first time Sami Zayn mentions Johnny Knoxville, the crowd starts cheering, and he just looks at them and says, "Stop that." The second time he mentions Johnny Knoxville, the crowd starts cheering again and like chanting "Johnny, Johnny," right? And Sammy just
Johnny
looks.
Knoxville comes out and says, "Yes, Papa."
Sammy just says, "We'll edit that out in post." And you can hear Pat McAfee in the background going, "This is live, Sammy." I'm not going to lie. Every week I'm starting to like Pat McAfee a little more. He's stupid, but he's earnest, and he gives a shit. And it's been so long since we've had a commentator who gave a shit.
Very true.
There was also a bit where, of course, Sammy was going to bring up Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs, because they haven't been building up a feud between Jinder and Shanky versus Shinsuke and Boogs. But they've decided, fuck it, we need Shinsuke to do something on the Rumble. We'll have Jinder and Shanky versus Shinsuke and Boogs. Whatever. And we'll only build it up with this one segment. But regardless, they did do an amusing little bit, because Sammy says, yeah, Shinsuke Nakamura, your opponents, Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick. And the crowd, without any prompting, well, yeah, I guess without their usual prompting, goes, boo! And Sammy just looks at them with, like, the ultimate look of, I fucking hate you guys.
Nice. He should have corrected them and say that it was Steiner.
Yeah. There's also a very, very amusing bit. So he's talking with Jinder, right? Jinder's doing all the talking. And Jinder, spoiler for folks, Jinder's Canadian. They can book him from India all they want, but the dude's Canadian. And it shows in his accent, or rather his lack of an accent. Because he's coming out like with the head wrap and everything to try and look as Indian as possible. When he starts talking, he's like, I am Jinder Mahal. And it's like, oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Sure you are, kid. Sure you are.
The Punjabi prince. But
I don't know
it was
why
really
I thought
funny,
you were
though.
going to call him the Punjabi prison. He is the prison.
I am the Punjabi prison.
I don't need.
I'm not trapped here with you. You're trapped here in me.
I don't need the bamboo. Every match I work is a Punjabi prison match.
Yeah. So they have this bit where they start. Sammy brings up Johnny Knoxville and he goes, but sorry, Shanky. I know that Johnny Knoxville must not be big in your country or really anywhere outside of the U.S. Right, Shanky? And Jinder hands the mic to Shanky, which is seems like a mistake no matter what. And Shanky, bless him, Shanky is genuinely Indian, I think. So when he talks, and it just comes out as complete gibberish, which credit where credit's due. I'm sure he was speaking fine English, but his accent's just so thick, nobody could understand what he was saying. Like full on, parody Hindu dude, right?
Yeah.
And then Sammy, there's honestly a beat where the crowd does not react at all because they couldn't understand what Shanky was saying. So then Sammy has to say, oh, what, you said you love the bungee cord porta potty? Because that was what Shanky said. You could barely make it out. And it was so bad that Sammy had to repeat Shanky's line for everyone. But yeah, the funny thing is, if Shanky's accent was just a little bit less thick, it would have actually been really funny to hear Shanky, who was this big, big ass fucking dude, and who they have so far played up as being a mysterious Hindu foreigner, to hear him say, I love the bungee cord porta potty. But his accent was so thick, the joke didn't come through and it was ruined.
I mean, that seems like a lot of WWE today. It didn't come through and it was ruined.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, excuse me, I just stuffing my face with eggs. All right, so.
But whose eggs?
Shinsuke and Rick come out and, surprise, it's a tag team match, blah, 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 whatever. And it was the weirdest tag team match I've ever seen. Because very early on in the match, Shinsuke never got tagged in. Very early on in the match, Sammy pulled Shinsuke off the apron. And Rick Boogs just beat Jinder Mahal and Shanky pretty well in a handicap match. Handily. I was like, what the fuck was the point of that? Way to make both of those guys look like jokes and also make Shinsuke look like a joke. Because the match went on for 10 minutes. And barely a minute into the match, Shinsuke got pulled off the apron and sold it on the ringside like he'd been fucking burning hammered for 9 minutes.
Shinsuke was secretly a ref.
Yeah, he had his ref shirt on. You just couldn't see it.
Yeah, you see, so most referees wear their shirts on the outside. Shinsuke wears his shirt on the inside.
Huh.
That's what they call a stealth ref.
Yeah. And then, I mean, imagining Shinsuke not doing his normal entrance, and then when he turns out that he's a special referee, he just rips his skin off his strips to reveal a ref shirt. He does the bit where the ref gave the shirt to the person last week. They do that bit, but he just removes his skin from his torso and has a ref shirt under it.
Yeah.
I mean, if they could do practical effects to that point, I would pop for that.
Yeah. Let's see. Next match was Kofi and Big E versus Corbin and Moss. And I guess Big E's just back with the New Day fully now, so any idea of the New Day splitting is entirely kaput.
Yeah.
Womp womp.
Biggie thought he could actually have a freaking character that doesn't suck, but hey, jokes on him. Like genuinely, I liked two-thirds of the New Day before they became the New Day, and Woods didn't have a chance to actually be someone before the New Day, so he's just kind of stuck there.
Yeah.
And I just hate the New Day as a gimmick. Like, not even the people, just the gimmick. I want the gimmick dead.
It's funny though. They're cutting a promo, and while they're cutting the promo, Big E is like his eyes are shooting everywhere. He's looking around. He's almost looking like he's seizing a little bit. And my mom says, "Well, what the hell? Big E's going crazy. What are they building up here?" And I just said, "No, that's just the New Day gimmick."
Yeah.
You should have said that he's hearing the voices in his head. He's gonna do an RKO.
That would be awesome if he just out of the blue RKO'd Kofi for no real reason.
Yeah.
Then Kofi gets back up and just continues the promo without acknowledging it.
Yeah. But then
that's just Big E. He just does that from time to time.
Yeah. But then it would be even better if he sets up for a big ending and then transitions that into an RKO.
I mean, that pretty well is the big ending.
Yeah.
Wasn't the big ending like I'm forgetting which one I'm thinking of that actually that looked similar to the big ending, because it didn't look like a cutter at the end to me. It looked like he was like parallel to the other person's torso, more or less.
Yeah, but it's still like for all intents and purposes a cutter. Yeah.
Yeah. Just he has hold of their torso rather than their neck.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
I just think it would be cool if he transitioned into an actual leg breaker cutter.
It would, but it'd also be a lot riskier than what he does now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
So, yeah, they do that. They have the match, yada, yada, yada. They're trying to keep a streak going of Corbin not getting pinned ever since he got his money back, which I think is a neat idea. Unfortunately, like a lot of good gimmicks, it's wasted on Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, if they want like the dumb gimmicks to continue, they should just make Corbin's gimmick that he has a stand. Because like there's so many things that they could actually just set up with beforehand with like backstage stuff, more or less. Where you just have have people treat Corbin like a fucking crazy person as he talks about having a stand, and then have stuff like this actually work in story for it to actually make like seem like he has a stand that like makes him lucky or something.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. He already has a stand. It's called Madcap Moss, and its special power is that as long as he has that stand, he can't be pinned. Moss gets pinned instead.
Ah, nice. I thought you were going to say he has a stand. The stand is called not getting fired by Vince.
Yeah, that's so too.
That's a secondary stand. That's level 2.
But yeah, Moss gets pinned, and every time I see that, I'm like, that's pitiful, because Moss actually seems pretty good, but his job now is just to get pinned in Corbin's place, and it's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Corbin manages... I'm really stuck between Corbin and Nakamura for the guys who are the least entertaining on TV right now. Like, it's a hard race.
I believe it.
And both of them pretty well have the same gimmick now of having a dude attached to them who's way more talented, but is there to take jobs mostly.
Yep.
Except when Boogs randomly dominates, I guess.
I mean, I'd say that Nakamura is probably better just because Nakamura can actually like Nakamura, as stupid as his offense is at least trying sometimes. Maybe I'm not sure if I want to call it trying, but I kind of have to.
Nah.
Whereas Corbin, like I've seen, I think 2 or 3 Corbin matches. I don't remember any of them. Like at least with the Nakamura one, with the one Nakamura match I watched, I don't think I'll ever forget it because it was so fucking dumb. His theatrics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Whereas with Corbin, I like genuinely have the time. I need to double check who Corbin is because I'm probably confusing him with Corey Graves.
Yeah,
So you know,
they're very similar, except that Corey Graves is actually good on the mic.
and also like can't wrestle because of his broken freaking neck. That he
Supposedly changed.
what changed?
Supposedly his neck is better.
Yep.
I mean, I guess it worked for Edge. It might work for him too.
And
Yep.
Brian.
Yep.
And Brian. I mean, with Brian, like I kind of expect Brian to not give a fuck about his neck and just get it broken again and die.
I don't care if I die. I'm wrestling.
Yeah.
Okay, give me a second. Okay, there we go. Wait,
You know what?
hang on.
I haven't watched AEW, but I wonder if Daniel Bryan actually bothers to wrestle now instead of doing the same 5 moves.
I hear he does. I hear he's back to actually wrestling.
Ah, that's good.
Punk looks sad, though.
I mean, yeah,
What looks sad?
Punk.
Oh.
I mean, look, when you need the money, you're gonna do the job, regardless of whether or not you actually want to do the job. Unless your name is Hulk Hogan, then you're not gonna do the job either. But you know,
I'm sure Punk loves wrestling still. It's just that he wants to be the guy, and he doesn't like when someone else is the guy.
maybe he should have bought ROH then. Considering it's
Shit, I could buy ROH. You might be able to buy ROH.
It's gotta be pretty cheap. Pull our resources together. We'll make
Rename it to ROA, Ring of Addy.
I'm resurrecting ROH, but I'm changing all of the vowels, I think, to O's. Wrong of honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's see.
I'm gonna buy ROH, and then it's just gonna be a Terry Funk podcast as I pay him week in and week out to come out to the ring and they cut promos or no one. He's the only wrestler that's signed.
He also has dementia.
Yeah.
All right. So the next and second to last segment was honestly like it was great, but it was like this is too good for TV, which is a problem WWE always has. But they had the payoff match to the Sonya Deville versus Naomi feud on this SmackDown.
Yeah.
Naomi finally gets to wrestle Sonya Deville, and they wrestle like a fucking 20-minute match with lots of high spots and lots of going back and forth, very athletic, and it's Naomi and it's Sonya Deville, so you know it's going to be a good fucking match.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just so... The crowd was so into it, and Naomi is so over, and that feud had so much build-up. And I was just like, why are we giving this away on TV?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the payoff is like, Naomi finally beats Sonya, she beats her clean. The feud is finally paid off. Naomi got to beat Sonya. And then Sonya, I guess the payoff to the payoff is then Sonya gets on the mic and goes, well, actually, you know, and Naomi is saying, like, now I'm going to win the Royal Rumble tomorrow, which admittedly, I do hope she wins. I do hope she wins the Royal Rumble tomorrow because Naomi is super fucking over and WWE make use of that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, yeah, and then Sonya just gets on the mic and, well, fuck you, Naomi, I'm also entering the Royal Rumble. And they played it up like this was supposed to be something that Naomi was upset about. But, like, in storyline, I'm sure they're going to have in the Royal Rumble what will happen is Sonya enters near the end and eliminates Naomi. I got you.
Yeah.
But
we know the fans want to see this person win, so we're going to have them get screwed over in the end by the heel. That's natural WWE booking.
Naomi screwed down Naomi.
Yeah. And, like, what was I going to say? But, like, if this was using, you know, realistic logic, then statistically speaking, there's a very good chance Naomi wouldn't even see Sonya in the match.
Yep.
Like, Sonya, what if you come in at number 2 and Naomi comes in at number 30? We both know you're not Rey Mysterio.
She's gonna hide under the ring.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that is funny that you think like you bring up the thing of like now the faces get set up to win and then they get cut off at the very end nowadays. It is weird how WWE nowadays like they've gone from doing the there used to be the WWE style of booking was you had a top face and the heels chased after him. While in the South they always had a top heel and the faces chased after him. But WWE's definitely changed that around now, haven't they?
Yeah. Unless your name's John Cena.
Yeah. That's just so weird. I mean, it works. It works fairly often. You know, it didn't happen in the South for no reason. At the same time, it can lend more of a feeling in modern WWE that you're more likely to get your dick pulled over nothing.
Yep.
Like, I think there does kind of need to be a little bit of a balance because back in the old days,
there does need to be a balance because the way they've been doing it for the past decade now is the face will rarely ever actually get that redemption to get over the heel to a point where honestly nowadays it feels like all the setup is always for nothing because there's no reason to get invested. The heel is always going to, or pardon me, the face is never really going to get that redemption arc.
Yeah.
They did it with Zack Ryder. They did it with Daniel Bryan. They did it with Roman Reigns back in the day. They did it with Rusev. They did it with Swagger. They did it with Tyson Kidd. They did it with who else? Neville. Mustafa. They did it with who else got screwed over recently? I don't remember fully, but the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah, and I mean, like, even back in the South, in the Southern days, that would still be a problem because, like, that was the dusty finish was kind of infamous for a reason. It was always some face chasing after Rick, and Rick creamed most of the faces that weren't Dusty Rhodes or like T.A. Magnum or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it can't be the opposite either. Like Hogan being WWE champion for 5 years could not happen now. That would
Absolutely
just not be fun.
Yeah.
God help us all, Bruno Sammartino.
Oh no.
But you know, it definitely just feels like there's a little bit too much of that in WWE, as well as there is in Walking Dead, which we were talking about the other day with Mike,
Right.
where it starts at a certain point to feel like it's supposed to be misery porn.
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, the heels won again. Okay, great. And the mid card at least is more balanced, which is part of why, like 10 years ago, the mid card was so much more interesting than the main event was because you didn't know who was going to win. It didn't feel like faces or heels got prioritized.
Yeah.
In the main event, it's always, you know, Cena always won on the WWE Championship side, whereas on the heavyweight title side, it was more likely that the heels would stay on top, which was always weird, I thought. It's just the curse of the big gold belt, I guess.
Yep.
I don't even know what's going on fucking Raw because they've now building up Brock versus Bobby, but like, who's supposed to be the heel there? Because Brock as a face against Roman can work, but Brock as a face against Bobby feels a bit more like he's punching down.
Yeah.
And the final segment of the show, Roman versus Rollins. Rollins is just having so much fun with this Drip Lord type thing they're having him do, the frickin' gimmick, which I don't like. I'll just keep calling it Drip Lord because that's what it's supposed to be. And Rollins is just having the fucking time of his life, coming out in the gaudiest, most ridiculous outfits possible.
Yeah, I'm imagining him in like a big like Victorian coat, but it also has like Supreme written on it in the different logos and shit.
Yeah, he comes out in a different outfit every week, but yes, a lot of the outfits are pretty well that. This time he came out in an all-purple sequin suit with a green tie, which, let me tell you, does not help the whole resemblance to Jared Leto thing.
You know what he should have done is he should have got that sequin suit, but made it so when he brushes his head against it shows a picture of Macho Man. That would have been great.
It would have, but that would be a WrestleMania attire if there ever was.
Yeah.
So Rollins and Roman come out and they cut a damn good set of promos against each other and so on. The crux of it, though, at the end of the day, was that they had a little bit where Rollins said, like, hey, man, I'm going to take that title off of you tomorrow night. But no matter what, remember, I still love you. Which I thought, yeah, that's nice for Rollins. You can't tell if he's fucking with him or if he's being legit. And Roman's response was, well, I've tried to forgive you, but between you putting a chair to my back and breaking up the Shield, I can never forgive you. I hate you. Which, yeah, and there you go. Pretty solid build up to a feud. Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
The only real problem that Rollins and Roman are having is the fact that, like, since they're obviously super best friends in real life, like, they're smiling a little bit during their promos. Perhaps in some spots it really works that they're smiling because it feels a little bit like they know that they're a match for each other, like they're rivals. There's a little bit of fun to it. Like, oh yeah, come on, I know you can give me a challenge, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Show me a good time, Roman. But there are some lines that are supposed to be a bit more serious, and Roman or Rollins will start smirking during it. And it's like, I know you're friends, guys, but you got to calm it down a little bit. You shouldn't be smiling for this part.
Yeah.
But regardless, fucking fantastic build up to Roman and Rollins. And it's bizarre because it's just padding. They are just padding for time until WrestleMania that they can finally have Roman versus Brock because they weren't expecting Roman to have COVID and Brock to have to go and get the other title.
Yep.
Like, whoever is writing the main event stuff is just like on an entirely different level than just about every other writer on the show. Because like the women's stuff mostly isn't well written. It's just that the women are so damn talented they're able to make up for it. But on the men's side, like the mid-card stuff is trash. The tag team stuff is trash. But the main event stuff is fucking fantastic.
No, actually, I think you meant to say that the tag team stuff doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Well, they did do admit
It exists, it's just not good.
I didn't mention it, but they did a fairly cute bit of build-up for the tag team stuff this week, which is they had the Usos come out and be like, oh, we're the best tag team. Yeah. We got them Viking Raiders, yeah, but all they do, yeah, is throw, yeah, axes, yeah. Shut up, Jay. But, oh, I'm sick of the fucking Usos promos. They're the worst. Anyway, like it's transparent. The Usos transparently just watched a bunch of Rock promos, a lot of shouty big guy promos, and have just been imitating them without, the meat or the charisma or the intensity to match them.
Yeah,
it's very fake, very propped up. I don't like it.
I hope that instead of watching actual promos, they watch the Rock YouTube poops and they're eliminating that.
Yeah, that would be more entertaining, admittedly. But then they'd be kind of be doing old Juventud Guerrera instead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Viking Raiders then actually come out and like, yeah, we do like throwing axes and something. Admittedly, the Usos said they smell bad, and the Viking Raiders' response was, we smell manly. Well, there was one particular bit where they go, yeah, but these axes are good for cutting as well. Cutting lumber, cutting off fingers. And then one of them I think it was Rowe talking, because I guess Hanson can't talk. Oh, shit, they changed their names, right? What's their names now? Ivar and something stupid?
Ivar and I think it's still Ivar and Rowe. Let me check that.
Well, in that case, regardless, you guys know who I'm referring to. Hanson's the big one, Rowe's the skinnier one that's married to Sarah Logan.
Right.
Rowe did all the talking, which I was kind of surprised by, and Rowe's actually not a bad talker. They're having him do a little bit of a goofy, tough guy voice because he's supposed to be a Viking, but like both of them are obviously from fucking Minnesota and not, Scandinavia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Eric and Ivar, apparently. No wonder I didn't remember the name Eric. That just reminds me of Rowan.
But Rowe and Hanson were such distinctive names, and Eric and Ivar are just kind of lame.
Yeah.
Eric and Ivar sound like a duo of like Chippendale dancers. Okay, so Eric, cuts the promo. Is good for you're cutting wood, cutting off fingers, and then he points his axe at whichever Uso has the horrible hairstyle. He says, maybe it's good for cutting off that rat tail of yours. And the Usos just disgustedly walk away while the Vikings admire their handiwork. I thought that was all right. The Viking Raiders, maybe I'm just buying in on some hype and they aren't all that good. I don't know. I don't care. I like the Vikings. I like them.
Yeah.
They're a fun tag team, and you very rarely get fun tag teams anymore.
I mean, it sounds like they gave them the same. They gave them the scraps of whatever promos they had left of I'm forgetting their names. The Illuminati people, Rise, Son of Rome. I don't remember.
Ascension.
Yeah, Ascension.
Oh, Ascension. Is Ascension even still around?
No.
I always heard they suck. Did they suck?
Yes.
I was not a fan. They were not good.
I mean,
well,
I think
the big difference is that
I think I stopped watching wrestling around the time that they went on the main roster, and then their whole bit was just like their whole bit was like, we're manly men who eat scrap metal and shit out oil. Is I think the way I put it around that time. Like, legitimately, I remember complaining about them on the other forums with X-Men. I remember complaining about them there and then saying shit like this. That's where their promos was. It was like 50% we're manly and 50% like very very basic Illuminati shit. Maybe I don't even remember. And the Rise on the end.
One thing I will say, I don't know, I haven't seen an Ascension match or an Ascension promo. I've only seen them in the games, and I go, oh, who are those fucking weirdos? But
I think they did the what was the one, the Ultimate Elimination or whatever the fuck. I forget the name of the move.
Oh yes, that move. I have seen that. Yes, and it's such a stupid idea for a tag finish. It's just a chopping block pretty well. Like, I can see someone getting knocked out by a...
It's a chopping block and it's a clothesline at the same time, I think.
Yeah, that's so fucking stupid. Regardless, what was I saying? Right, yeah, regardless, the difference I would say is that the Ascension were heels, right?
I think so,
yep.
Yeah.
The Viking Raiders are faces, so there's a little bit of a difference there. The other thing is the Viking Raiders they aren't garbage in the ring. They may not be, either of them be technical specialists, but they're both entertaining.
Yeah.
And Hanson, Ivar is very, very, very agile for a man of his size, which is always fun in the bigger wrestlers. And at first I wasn't impressed by Rowe, Eric, whatever, but I'm starting to like him more and more over time as well. They've got very cool tag team moves as well, and it's rare to see fun tag team moves.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, that was SmackDown. Overall, it was a solid show. A mix of stuff that I thought was like blah, and stuff that was like, this is too good for TV. You should be putting this on pay-per-view. So, an even mix, all things considered. And I believe with that, my week is over. So, I believe we can call that a podcast. Eddie, say bye.
I could bring up a funny topic to end on.
What's that?
So Eve Guillermo, I think was that his name? Fuck, I don't remember. Whatever. The owner of Ubisoft was recently talking about NFTs and how people just don't get it, man.
Did you see Gwyneth Paltrow was also talking about NFTs?
Well, yes, but at the same time, it's what I'd expect out of Gwyneth Paltrow. I mean,
yeah.
I suppose it's what I'd expect out of Ubisoft too. But with Ubisoft, with Ubisoft, I actually sometimes think about them, so I can point and laugh at them. With Gwyneth Paltrow, I haven't watched a mid-2000s rom-com in 5 years at least, so I don't really think about Gwyneth Paltrow.
Sadly, she has been in several Marvel movies.
Oh yeah, she was Pepper.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Iron Man 1 since it came out, so hey, it's fine. Or any of the Iron Man movies for that matter, really. Like I think I saw Iron Man 1 and 2, and then I think I skipped 3, and I just didn't really freaking like keep up with the Marvel movies all that much, aside from watching Infinity War. I, I did think about watching the new Spider-Man because it has Tobey Maguire in it, and apparently he stops Tom Holland from killing Willem Dafoe, and that sounds great. Like apparently Tom Holland's Spider-Man gets so pissed that he actually nearly kills
Hey,
the
let's hang on. Let's ease back on the spoilers here. I don't think I've seen that
I've
movie.
not seen it, and I intend to one year.
This is all I've heard. This is the one.
That doesn't mean it's all I've heard. I've not heard anything up to this point.
Just the freaking the like it just sounds great. Technically, I actually have heard more, but yeah, regardless.
I do actually have one last question to a couple questions to ask Pink before we get out. Well, they're probably not important enough to get on the podcast, but I'll get them out just in case anything entertaining comes from them. For one thing, boy, it is hard making John Morrison CAW in these video games now because all of his old animations are still in, but they suck.
They're all janky as heck.
The Starship Pain animation is so bad. I don't get. There's a certain.
I mean, it's not the same thing, but could you just like retrofit the freaking triangle moonsault from Van Damme that they made newer?
I can, but the trouble is that John Morrison does a corkscrew when he does it.
Yeah, I know, but it's like you know, is the corkscrew better enough that you could live with just the moonsault?
It wouldn't feel right. I could try and do it, but I've done that kind of thing before, and it feels off. You know?
Yeah.
What was the other thing? There are some people, I remember back when we were on the Dota forums, there were some people who were just so intent on saying, like, the animation style needs to go back to those old days, whereas those exaggerated impacts. And I just don't get those people.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the old fucking choke slams where every time you did a choke slam, it was a rock cell?
Yeah. Those were the worst.
Uh-huh. Oh, remember when the only stunner animation was the rock cell stunner?
Mm-hmm.
So you couldn't have Austin do stunners to like Andre or anything because Andre would do the rock cell and it would look so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
The other question is, this one's an actual question. It occurred to me midway through the previous one that it wasn't a question, it was a statement. But the question, Pink, where did all the T-bone suplexes go?
That is a good question. I think they got renamed to like power slams and exploder suplexes.
That is so weird.
Right. The T-bone just doesn't exist anymore.
I mean, like, I was about to ask, does anyone do the T-bone? But doesn't Bailey do the T-bone still?
I feel like she does.
She at least does like a corner T-bone, a turnbuckle T-bone.
Yeah. I feel like Chad Gable has done a T-bone suplex as well. I don't know if it's a part of his moveset.
Yeah, but they don't give a shit about Gable.
It's fair enough.
And I look forward to 2K22 when they every throwing move the Taskplex.
Nah.
And Taz is not even in the game.
Okay, I can confirm. I just checked. There are no there are no T-bone suplexes among the power slams. Why would you get rid of the T-bone suplex animations? They were actually pretty good even back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, those need to go. But those need to go. But the one Shining Wizard animation we've had since the first SmackDown vs. Raw, that's fine. That's cool. You don't need a better one.
No fucking kidding. The fucking reality check animation, which was bad from the start. There is one T-bone suplex animation left, and it's labeled Exploder Suplex 8. That is the only T-bone suplex left in the whole game. What the fuck?
Nice.
Plenty of catch suplexes now, but they're also labeled exploder suplex.
Everything's an exploder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What even is, at this point, what even is the exploder suplex supposed to look like? Like a proper one.
I'm now forgetting. Actually, you know what? My brain may have mixed up the exploder and the T-bone in my mind. I'm trying to remember. Shit. Was the exploder? I'm trying to remember. Brodus always did. Was the exploder not the suplex that Brodus would do? Brodus Clay would do.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, that's still around, and Randy started doing that once Brodus left, right?
Yeah.
Yes, and back 20 years ago when Shelton Benjamin had the power slam as a finish, they always called that the exploder suplex, even though it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was really more of an exploder slam, but still.
Mm-hmm.
So if you remember any of those three guys, Addy, that's close enough.
I remember all of them, but not the move. Funnily enough. Okay,
It's the suplex.
Yeah.
They put the arm over one of the guy's shoulders. It's from the front. They put the arm over one of the guy's shoulders and then grab the opposite leg with their other arm and then throw him overhead.
Yeah.
It's like
it
a
also
really
kind of resembles
perfect plex.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a fisherman suplex without a headlock.
You know,
I was always a sucker for it, though.
Speaking of Brodus
Absolutely.
Clay, speaking of Brodus Clay, I was going to ask, but I didn't see the space to put it. But during the Naomi segment where they all talked about Naomi, I thought about it. Like, would the women's division have a heel that would do like freaking like scare tactics and shit? Because they could do a bit where that heel ties down Naomi and then just plays Brodus Clay's entrance music and just do a freaking Clockwork Orange bit.
Why would she be scared of Brodus Clay?
It gives her bad memories of when freaking where she started.
Oh, see, that'd be a different gimmick if the gimmick of a wrestler is just bringing up embarrassing other wrestlers' gimmicks. And I'll be honest, Naomi's more or less kept up the Funkadactyl gimmick over the last 10 years. It's just that now it's called the Glow gimmick pretty well.
Yep.
Oh boy, but yeah, if there was a wrestler whose gimmick was bringing up shitty old gimmicks to embarrass other wrestlers, they'd have a lot of material nowadays.
Oh yeah.
The worst one, of course, would be Natalia farting gimmick, but oh boy, we don't want to talk about that.
No, that's gonna get a revival once the company runs out of money, and then Vince will need Natalia to make an OnlyFans to keep the company afloat with her freaking sketch fetish porn that they're gonna force her to make.
What is wrong with you?
Many things.
That's my reaction.
I mean, I'd hope that by that point Natalia would just walk away.
There has to be a point where you just go, all right, fuck off, Vince.
Yeah. Like on one hand, I would hope that Natalia would walk away. On the other hand, she didn't when she first got given the fart gimmick, and she really should have walked away.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, Pink, because you've been paying more attention and you probably hear more of the dirt sheets. But isn't it said nowadays that those ideas aren't Vince's? They're actually writers trying to get Vince's approval because they know he has an immature sense of humor?
Yes.
Because apparently Vince thought Katie Vick was comedy gold, by the way. He said that in an interview.
Ah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a clip. I'll have to send you it. It's a part of a clip compilation of Vince saying weird things. And it's just labeled Vince McMahon is insane. And at one point he says, honestly, word for word, well, you know, you see a man wearing nothing but a mask and a thong bearing all, and he gets in a casket with a corpse and makes love to it. I mean, that's comedy gold right there. Without a hint of irony to his voice.
I feel like I feel that makes me think like that I wouldn't call it an immature sense of humor. I would call it an acquired taste.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I mentioned it.
yeah.
Oh no, go ahead.
Like I was going to say, like I find horrible shit funny, but like, dude,
The Jim Cornette quote I saw the other day was Vince McMahon is a genius and a demon and will never be fully understood.
Eh.
And with that, I believe we can go ahead and call that a podcast now. Addy? Okay, that one was definitely our longest one yet. That's for certain. Oh, it's still going.
Eddie has left the call.
By the time Addy says bye, I'll have edited every wrestler's moveset in this game.
bye.